Hey, what's going on, guys? We're doing morning cardio right now, and a lot of people want to know, is running the best method of cardio? Is running going to give you the most results? Well, I am living proof to the otherwise right now, and a lot of other people are. Back in the day, people used to consistently run just because that was seen as a general mode of fitness. It's something, all humans, or most of humans, are born able to do. So running, it takes a certain amount of grit and effort and all that. So running has always been seen as like the staple way that you should get cardio done, and probably the original only way as well. But over time, especially in bodybuilding, people have shifted the tides on that, and they've been willing to try other ways to do things, and there's been a lot of success made. For instance, I don't do this, but a lot of people have been going to just tracking their daily step count and making sure it's at a very high number, instead of actually going and walking on a treadmill or climbing upstairs, things like that. So these things work. We know they work. There's people that have come in completely bone dry, peeled, 3% body fat, doing it that way instead of the traditional methods. Right now, I am simply just doing a fast walk outside. So I have an Apple Watch on, which you could use like a Fitbit or something else, but I think that is the best way, if you're going to do what I'm doing, to track how things are going. So there's a couple pieces of information on here that I find very valuable, and it's my my pace per mile and my heart rate. So I know if I walk at a rate that takes me less than 17 minutes and 45 seconds to walk a mile, I know that over the course of 10 or so minutes, my heart rate is going to go up close to the target range, which starts at like 120. So I'm at like 114, 115-ish. So I'm able to track that, and then I can adjust the pace up or down slightly to make sure the heart rate trickles into that range I'm trying to get it in. So I have to do that because the whole kind of point you're getting at here is you want your heart rate to get elevated through activity to a certain degree. So I'm doing the activity right now, and I want my heart rate to get up to the range I need it to be at, and then just coast there, let it stay there. And if I was running, my heart rate would be much, much higher right now, which you could argue actually could, in theory, give you better results over time, because you're having to exert more effort. So you have to exert more energy in the form of burning calories to get that done. So, running could have a place in your fitness routine if you are simply kind of uncaring to lower body development with weight training. And that's generally what it comes down to. Now you have seen content out there from people where they have like massive quads on them, like really big competitive legs, and you see them out there doing like half marathons or running full marathons. I think Nathan the Asho was one of these kinds of people. And the thing is, that's definitely possible, but those people sit outside of what normal is. That's more of an exception, not a generality. Most people who attempt to do that are not going to hold on to anywhere near the considerable amount of muscle tissue that these people have on them. They're just genetically predisposed to hold on to muscle and grow it quickly. And that's some people, it's definitely some people, but most of us out there, we can't get away with doing stuff like that. It'll negatively impact our muscle development. So it's important to keep that in mind, because a lot of people, they'll turn towards the individual that's kind of the caveat to the statements being made, and they'll look to that and say like, well, that's not true, they've done it. But they're simply able to get away with it because of their lineage, not because that's a general thing people are able to accomplish. So that you gotta consider that in mind, because you don't want to, if you care about bodybuilding, you don't want to do something that's going to negatively impact how your legs look, because you're putting in all that effort every week squatting and shit. So do you really, you want to spoil it simply because you want to run? But again, if you don't care about bodybuilding, perfectly fine to do that. And a big thing as well, with everything I set aside with running. So, I mean, there's been research conducted, like the impact of shock from your foot hitting the ground and the weight of your body every step while you're running. It's great enough to have that shock travel upward and impede the recovery of your muscle tissue after weight training. And that's from the shock of your foot hitting the ground with the momentum of running. So like what I'm doing right now is I'm just walking fast outside. There's a little bit of shock, like just for me taking steps, but I'm like, this is nowhere near the level of many other things. Like stair stepper, for example, I would say like what I'm doing right now, like stair stepper would kind of be number one on the how hard is this scale, and kind of what I'm doing right now is at the bottom of it, where I'm just walking fast outside. It's got very low impact, but it does have impact. You can't ignore that. And I'm just casually getting my heart rate up to the desired range, and I'm still able to do something like, I don't know, make this video and talk to you. And my heart rate right now, it's 128 beats per minute. I want my heart rate to be between 120 and 140 beats per minute. So I'm in the range right now. I'm perfectly happy with the range I'm in. And I don't care if my heart rate's closer to 140 than 120. I just want it in that range of numbers. I don't care where it is there, as long as it gets there and stays there for the duration of cardio. And I think like I'm living testament that a method like what I'm doing works perfectly fine, because I'm going to, over the next 2 months, lose a ton of body fat and hopefully look unrecognizable to what I do right now, which I'm definitely fat right now. Well, fat by bodybuilder terms. Like normal people would see me and they'd say maybe he's a little chunky, like if that. But bodybuilding standards, I'm definitely fat right now. So the effort level and duration of cardio and all that, it based on my timeline, it is a bit high right now. I'm doing over an hour a day. So right now I'm doing 35 minutes of it, just like this. But then post-workout, I'm doing 30 minutes of stairs. So it's not like I'm solely banking on doing it this way, but half of the work's being done this way. So if I have a tremendously successful end result from what I'm doing, well, I was able to conserve energy and output it more appropriately to other parts of my routine, instead of like running right now and then doing stairs or running again after I'm done weight training. And I wholeheartedly believe if there was somehow like a twin version of me, like a clone copy, and one of them was to run the whole way through this prep and the other one was to do what I'm doing, I think I wholeheartedly believe the one doing what I'm doing is going to end up retaining more muscle mass by the end of the process. I think the version of me that would be running, their legs would look a lot shittier, albeit the legs on the version of me walking are not that great either. But that's more of a me thing, not like a cardio method thing. I've always not had great legs, but they have been improving. It's just been a struggle. That's why we don't complain, we just try and get it done. But anyway, guys, yeah, so when it comes down to doing cardio, you can pick anything you want as long as you like it. But really you're just trying to get your heart rate in a certain range and then maintain it there for a certain duration of time. So you could try and run sprints and stuff and like maybe run a mile or two doing sprints every day and have inconsistent timing with that. You could definitely lose fat that way. But the most tried and true method, the one that you know for sure is going to work, is by getting your heart rate to a certain range and then maintaining it for more and more time. You could start out like literally doing a 15-minute walk, and then a couple months later that could be a 30-minute walk. And you obviously don't want to escalate that forever, because then you're going to eventually live your life just to walk, but that would be a bit extreme. But like honestly, just like doing a half-hour walk in the morning is going to keep you leaner, and just be better for your overall health. And I think that's crucial, especially if you're doing something like bodybuilding, because you're doing a lot of things. I'm doing a lot of things right now that definitely make me unhealthy. So I'm not trying to be healthy. It's pretty impossible with the choices I'm making, but I'm trying to be the least unhealthy I can. Because if you're going to do something bad, you might as well try and mitigate some of the harm. Excuse me. And I think that's just, it's a good policy to just go by for checks and balances with yourself. And hopefully you just over time, you get better accustomed to feeling yourself and listening to your body. And just based on what your body's telling you from your feeling, that could dictate a lot of on-the-spot changes to maintain the integrity of what you're doing. If my legs or my knees are really beat up, should I be doing max effort squats to failure? Probably not. I should probably lower weight or pick a different exercise and hit failure in a higher, more controlled rep range. Like, that would be a smart thing to do. Never skip the muscle group, but like change things up based on how you feel. So the nice thing too is I'm eventually going to reach a point where over the course of a week or two, I feel that everything I'm doing is not eliciting any additional change. And that might be the time when I revisit if I want to do cardio this way in the morning. My goal is to keep doing these walks for as long as possible to get as lean as possible. But when it's time to switch, I'm going to have to do that. So that'll mean waking up a little bit earlier and driving to a gym and getting on a stair mill, that will probably be the method of which it happens. Just because the stair mill, it's really hard to mess up getting leaner, having that be your cardio method, because you're just climbing stairs and dripping sweat for 30 plus minutes when you're on it, and it gets pretty grueling and miserable. Right now I could probably walk for like 2 hours and be fine, but I'm doing 35 minutes. So eventually this will stop yielding the results I need it to, and we'll have to switch things over. And it's nice because, like, switching the method of cardio, it could be the thing that kickstarts more weight loss, or I should say fat loss. So that's a really neat aspect to it. But again, you got to have a good feel for when you've reached that point, and not exhaust more energy than needed in one direction or another, which it's hard to understand that at first, but over time you get a better idea of all this with the decisions you should make based on how you feel and all that, and you make better calls on it. But it takes time and just paying attention to yourself. So anyway, guys, this kind of went all over the place, but I hope it did answer the question there. Running isn't necessarily necessary, but you could do it. But I probably wouldn't if you like to bodybuild. That makes sense. So anyway, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'm going to go home, eat breakfast, and get after it.